Hello and welcome back, YouTubers. I am Protomario, and today we are reviewing Mercury. Now, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name here because it does say mainly Mercury, but it could be Mercury HG, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Mercury is a game available for the Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. It is basically a puzzle game where you get the Mercury from one end to another. It's a simplistic puzzle game that involves the moving of the level rather than the moving of the object. The object, of course, being that of mercury, a very liquidy metallic substance, in essence liquid metal. If you ever took a type of chemistry in your lifetime, then you'll understand what mercury is. It's the substance that you used to be able to play with in your hands until they discovered that it was very, very deadly. Mercury appeals to those who are really into puzzle games, and it requires a certain amount of physics. It's a very, very interesting type of game here, and it requires you to basically understand how to move the level to contour towards the mercury substance rather than moving the mercury substance itself. This presents and changes the reality of the world that you're playing in, making it incredibly more difficult than it would be if you could simply just move the mercury yourself. You'll be facing times where you'll be grueling and angry at the game for the possible loss of your mercury blob or losing a little bit of your mercury. If you do happen to get through the level, however, with your mercury intact, then you'll be able to collect on a nice little bonus. In the beginning, you'll be introduced into an introductory level, which will give you the basics and teach you about the game. It's very, very simple and easy to get through. As you can see, the button layout is pretty simple to use and easy to get used to. Mercury is a very, very fast-paced puzzle game, and most people who would really enjoy this game are people who are really into puzzle games, as I stated before. Some of the levels can be very, very difficult, as it does require a large amount of movement on your part, and it can cause some motion sickness, so that's something you might want to be careful of. Each level does have a specific strategy that you might want to use against it to get the best score, and every level is being timed. The quicker you do the level, the better the score, but in the end, you really want to have the full mercury blob at the finish line, so sacrificing time for the whole blob is a better strategy. Mercury is a puzzle game that is unlike any other that I have seen personally, and I really enjoyed this game as it opened my eyes to a new type of puzzle game. It's kind of like an older game called Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, but with this, it's a bit different. One of the more interesting features of Mercury is that because of the background will change depending on the music that you use. You can use your own custom music if you really want to, and you can see how it changes with the music. But in the end, it is still, in essence, the game that you're going to be purchasing, not some background music player. Even with this gimmicky feature implemented, it's still a very, very fun game and a great game to play, to say the least. You'll have mistakes with the Mercury level, and it'll become increasingly easier to play each level once you've played through it once or twice to really understand what you're supposed to be doing within the level. Most levels of Mercury will have you grabbing at a certain color changer and having you finish with that color. Some of the levels can become very difficult as certain blocks will be resistance blocks, causing you to not go as fast. You'll want to avoid these blocks at all costs and pick up the extra little atoms that will increase your Mercury score greater than what you would get rather than without them. It's a very basic risk versus reward system, and Mercury does it very well. Overall, I found Mercury to be a very fun game but one that after a while of playing it over and over again, it's much like Marble Madness, and it can be boring once you finish the levels over and over again. So, overall, Mercury would apply to a puzzle game enthusiast, but in the end, if you're not really into puzzle games, if you don't like puzzle games, then this game probably would be a one-time pick up and play, and you wouldn't want to sit here and try and get every single achievement over and over and over again. Mercury is a fun pick up and play puzzle game, and if you like what you see here, then you should definitely download the trial version.